I'm Congresswoman Yvette D. Clarke, and I proudly represent New York's Ninth Congressional District, that's Central and South Brooklyn. I'd like to thank tonight's guest speakers from the New York City Department of Veterans Services, Black Veterans for Social Justice, the New York Small Business Association, and the Library of Congress's Veterans History Project for taking the time from your very busy schedules to join us for this critical conversation. I'd also like to thank all of you in attendance for joining me tonight in celebration of our nation's greatest heroes, our family members, our friends, our neighbors, our National Veterans and Military Families Month uh, as it concludes. Let me be clear. Veterans deserve every honor, as do their families who support and enable them to do the necessary work they do to actualize the ideals of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. While 1 month alone is hardly adequate to express the sincere appreciation and gratitude we hold for our veterans, it is important that we use this time to highlight all of the work that we can and have done to better the lives of veterans and their families. Only days ago, the House of Representatives passed the historic Build Back Better Act, and President Biden has signed into law the historic Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act. Yes, these are indeed very historic times. We are finally turning the page on a bygone century that was no longer of use to modern day America. We passed the Build Back Better Act to deliver unprecedented investments that will help every American find solid ground again, and veterans are no exception to that. For too long, those who have sacrificed, bled, and devoted themselves and their futures to America have only been marginalized and neglected by the country they protected, the country that you protected. Thankfully, the winds of change are finally blowing in our favor, and we are on the precipice of progress. Through the recent landmark legislation making its way through Congress, we will deliver the resources our vulnerable veterans deserve, like the child tax credit, which enables our veterans with families to access financial resources for the children of their households, like no interest loans for our small businesses, our mom and pop entrepreneurs, like incredible expansion of Medicare, which will seek to bring health care to the more than 525,000 uninsured veterans in this nation. We are delivering on the support needed to rebuild lives and communities after the devastating impact of COVID 19, the rampant inequities that have been laid bare by COVID 19, our deteriorating infrastructure, and a housing crisis that has only gotten worse. We held strong to our conviction that any package passed must bring immediate and tangible change in the lives of all working people. And I'm proud to say, following months of hard work, debate, and compromise, the Build Back Better Act and the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act together is a package that will be transformative, not just for all Americans, but especially for veterans and their families who have paid the ultimate price and sacrifice for the freedoms that we all hold dear. And let me remind you all, these are resources right here at home for veterans to turn to in times of distress. Resources like the Home Help for Heroes program from the Neighborhood Housing Services of Brooklyn, which exists to provide disabled veterans in our community to accommodate their disability, or the Heroes Career Event from the New York City Department of Veteran Services at Barclays Center on December 9th to help veterans find new opportunities after their services have ended. The work is being done, and now all that remains is to see it through to the end in the United States Senate. And I know we will. With that, let me turn things over to Rob Cachado with the New York District Office of Small Businesses.
Good evening, all, and thank you, Congressman Clark. It's great to be reunited with you and your staff once again. I was the Small Business Development Center Director in Brooklyn for about 7 years prior to me stepping into this new role with the SBA. When I was in Brooklyn, and I still am, very much active with veteran advocacy. So I'm very happy to be able to address all of you, whether you're just coming out of the military, maybe you've been out for a while, whatever role you're in now. Hopefully, I can pass on a couple of tips for you tonight. I don't have a PowerPoint, but if you have a pen, piece of paper, write my number down. My door is always open, and I'll get you to a resource you need. My number here, it's a funny area code. I'm out on Long Island, but it's 631-454-0762. That's my office number. You're always welcome to call. And probably the best role I serve here is as a sort of a triage person, getting you to the people you need. Having counseled veterans who wanted to go into small business or expand their small businesses to contracting and bigger things, I've been around the block a few times. I think I can help. I want to pass on a couple of tips, though, for you real quick. One is there's pretty much 4 steps as a new business owner, if you're thinking about it, or even if you want to get larger in what you're doing. Maybe you want to go from the selling on the corner in a kiosk to going international. There's 4 basic steps. One is you want to create or ideate the plan. Just noodle it over. Talk to friends, family. Nothing's impossible. When we were kids, we wanted to be astronauts or we wanted to be pro ball players. And somewhere around the age of 13, somebody told us we couldn't. We let our dreams sort of fade. There's no reason why that has to be the case. We can ideate at any time. Number 2, start the plan. Write something down. Put it on paper. If you have a plan that's not based on something you write on paper, it remains a dream. It's not tangible. Third thing is got to move out. We're all from the military, or those maybe military family members, you know the term move out. Once you got a plan, you got to turn it into action. The people on the call tonight, they have great organizations at their disposals, or they can get you to the right people. I've got access to SBA resources. You contact me or just Google SBA.gov. You can find a wealth of information. Now, it can be overwhelming at times. That's why you want to get a human being, ideally. So I'm going to tell you this from experience. If you are starting a business or growing a business in New York City, try to get a hold of one of the business partners, resource partners, i.e. the Small Business Development Centers, SCORE, Women's Business Centers, or our ACE in the Hole, VBOC. We need an acronym. We need another acronym, right? Veteran Business Outreach Center. We've got one in our region located up in Albany, but she is all world as far as hooking you up with the right resources and things you may need to grow your business or even start it. Sometimes the answer is going to be not yet. I never told any veteran, no, you can't do that. Sometimes they're not prepared as well as they could be, and I might tell them, not now, but here's what we have to do to get ready. And that goes for a lot of folks, and I recommend don't get turned off by a no or not yet. It's okay. And lastly, last step in any business process is evaluate. You may try something, and you got to be measuring at all times. If you can't measure it, you cannot manage it. I'll mention this to you. You have to have mentors. Again, this call or people we can put you in contact with, the city is filled with great mentors from a city-based, state-based, or federally based. So you'd be remiss if you didn't take advantage of what's available to you. I'm going to stop right here with one quote, and I find it very powerful when it relates to entrepreneurship. And that is, maybe you've heard this before, but if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. Use us, check in with us, exploit your network, and I'll see you on Main Street. Thank you so much, Congresswoman, for doing all this.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Rob. Your information, your wealth of knowledge is truly invaluable, and we value you here in the Ninth District of New York. It's now my pleasure to bring in our next speaker, Ms. Monica Mahidra, the new director of the Veterans History Project in the Library of Congress. Thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm very happy to be here to share about the Library of Congress Veterans History Project. I am the acting director of the Veterans History Project, and it is your opportunity to set the record straight as a veteran about what happened, what you saw, felt, and experienced during your time serving our country, and making sure that your story and your perspective is part of this important national archive and the national conversation around what happens when the U.S. is at conflict. The Veterans History Project was started by Congress, unanimously legislated over 21 years ago, and the idea was for individuals around the country to work with the veterans in their lives and their communities to gather their first-person remembrances. What were those human experiences the veterans among us saw, felt, heard, understood while they were in service? We have over 112,000 individual collections of these first-person narratives from World War I through the recent conflicts. And this is an opportunity to ensure that your voice gets counted among those. With the holidays coming up for the winter, December and January holidays, now is the time to sit down with either a veteran you respect and admire. You don't have to start with yourself. You can start with a buddy. So often we hear from veterans, oh, I didn't do anything. My buddy over there, she was really the person that made something happen. She was a groundbreaker. She broke glass. That's who you need to talk to. Fine. Start with the veteran in your life that is meaningful to you. You can go to our website, which is off of the Library of Congress website. So it starts www.loc.gov, as in government, /vets, as in veterans. On there, you'll find everything you need, from a video to how to record your interview, how to record your memoir, from the required forms for the archive. We also offer workshops for groups of volunteers gratis. Get together with your American Legion chapter, your Veterans of Foreign Wars chapter, your Student Veterans chapter, and gather folks together, work with each other to make sure that your stories are not lost in what we normally see for how history is reported. This is about the individuals and their human experience. The collections currently contain a plethora of World War II veterans, and we are definitely seeking veterans from all kinds of backgrounds. We want more from the more recent conflicts. We want more Vietnam and Korean veterans. We want more veterans who served in unusual duties. Were you a chaplain? That's something we're very interested in, although all veterans' stories are very important, and we're interested particularly in those from your community. If you would like to be in touch with us about how to further engage and participate in the resources like free workshops that we have available, please do reach out to us via email at vohp@LOC, that's like Library of Congress, .gov, G-O-V, and we'll be happy to share this information in the chat and through Representative Clark's staff, and we hope you take advantage of this now. The project is ongoing, but the idea is to get it accomplished while you have the spark of the idea to do so. Again, this is your opportunity to ensure that what you saw is recorded. Thanks so much for your time tonight.
Thank you very much, Monica Mahindra from the Library of Congress. That was a fascinating presentation, and I think veterans history is American history. And so many have served honorably in our for generations now, but we never truly get their story. So I hope that those of you who are viewing this evening's program will engage. It's so very important that we catalog our contributions to making this nation the great nation that she is. Having said that, it's now my honor, my privilege to bring in our next speaker. This is a man that I've known for quite some time, who's done some tremendous work from the ground up with our veterans here in Brooklyn, New York, and that's none other than Mr. Jelani Mashariki of the Black Veterans for Social Justice. Jelani, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you very much, Congresswoman Clark. We appreciate you here at Black Veterans for fighting for veterans throughout this nation, continuously steadfast. And we thank you over the years of collaborating with you in your office and servicing veterans throughout your district and throughout Brooklyn. So we want to acknowledge that history, long history we have together as a community-based organization and with your office. So here at Black Veterans for Social Justice, I'm Jelani Mashariki. I'm the VP of Facilities and Community Outreach. Our CEO couldn't join us today, so I'm here, but I know well about the organization and services provided. Our CEO, Wyndham McClinton, our founder is Joe Mashariki, who happens to be my father. So just a brief history on Black vets. On April 18th, 1979, a group of veterans from all branches of the military representing enlistees from World War II through Vietnam came together to provide assistance to veterans with problems. Some immediate problems faced were racism, racist policies, little or poor medical and rehabilitative services, unemployment, no reentry preparation in society. Many soldiers leaving the military had a lack of knowledge of their rights or the agencies willing to help them. Some veterans experienced hostile social attitudes, and high percentage suffered from exposure to the lethal toxin Agent Orange and continual readjustment obstacles, along with limited opportunities. So that is the brief synopsis on how we got started at Black Veterans for Social Justice. 43 years serving veterans, and currently we have over 300 units of housing, low income and affordable housing. Of that, 50 units are earmarked for veterans only, and the rest are veterans are given a high priority to our housing that we have in Brooklyn. We also have the Homeless Veterans Reintegration Program that many of you need to take advantage of, whether you're a homeless veteran or whether you're just a veteran looking for services. And we service women veteran, male veterans, formerly incarcerated veterans, and disabled veterans, and also women with children veterans. And we help them find housing, we help them find employment, workforce development, and then we also just give them an area where they can talk with other veterans and get a lot of their mental health issues supported by each other. That also being said, we'd just love to take part in this. And if you want to, please contact us for any veterans that have services or need services, need subsidies, housing subsidies, also subsidies for utilities. We do have some resources that we can connect veterans with in those areas. You can contact us at 718-852-6004, and you can just press 0 and speak to the operator, and we'll connect you to any service that you need. Also, when it comes to discharges, if you need help with your discharges, upgrading them, we have veteran service officers on site. And then you can also contact us through our website, www.bvsj.org. But we prefer a phone call, and then we'll set up an appointment, or you can just walk in to our headquarters, which is the Veteran Resource Center, 665 Willoughby Avenue, Brooklyn, New York. So I want to thank you all, and please attach yourselves to the services, whether you're a veteran or family members supporting veterans. We want to make sure that we support you, because those that support veterans also need help. So we know it's not just the veteran, it's also the family members and the community that support the veterans. So we have a holistic support approach to supporting veterans here at BVSJ.
Thank you so much for sharing that wealth of information on the work of the Black Veterans for Social Justice. You have been game changers on the ground in Central Brooklyn for close to 5 decades now. And it's important, as we see the ending of conflicts and the bringing home of our troops from Afghanistan, that we direct our newly minted veterans to the resources and the support that they need to reintegrate themselves, remake their lives. And there's no greater time for getting that done than the present. So thank you so much, Jelani, and thank you to the team at Black Veterans for Social Justice. Let me then bring in our final speaker this evening, and her name is Cassandra Alvarez, Associate Commissioner of the New York City Department of Veteran Services. Thank you for joining us this evening, Cassandra. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much for having me, Representative Clark. I think I live just outside of your district in South Brooklyn, but I am a native Brooklynite, 3rd generation, very proud to be from the borough, and the granddaughter of a Korean War veteran. So veteran services are very close and dear to my heart. So as you said, I am the Associate Commissioner of Policy and Strategic Partnerships at the New York City Department of Veteran Services. Our agency is a city-level agency dedicated to serving veterans and their families. We were chartered on April 8th, 2016, by way of Local Law 113, which mandated for the city to create a special department dedicated to veterans. So we are relatively new in comparison to some of the other big agencies that have been around for many, many, many years. Just to start it off, I want to share our information with all of the guests tonight. So DVS can be reached at 212-416-5250. You can find out more about us and our services on nyc.gov/vets. Again, that's 212-416-5250, nyc.gov/vets. So we do many different things at DVS. We are an agency that is staffed by many knowledgeable people who are here ready to educate, inform, and serve our veteran community. There are a few things that I want to highlight today as far as what we offer to the community, and I do encourage all of you to reach out to us using that information that I just shared. You could go to our website and fill out a service request form, or you could give us a call. If you call between business hours of 9 to 5, you will get a live person, and that person will do intake for you. He's a wonderful gentleman by the name of Steve, who often answers the phone at our office. So the first thing I want to touch on is VA disability claims. We have trained claims benefits counselors on staff who are able to help veterans file new claims with the VA to eventually receive VA disability payments. So if that is something that you are seeking help with, please reach out to us. We can help you file a new VA disability claim. The other thing that I want to mention is our Vet Connect Pro platform. This is a brand new system that we just launched and announced on Veterans Day. This is an employment tool, a digital employment tool. It is a resume builder. It is a mentorship platform. It is a military skills translator, all built into one. So it is an interactive system through which a veteran can create a profile. and access all of those things that I mentioned and more. There's even information about your local elected officials inside that system. It's really important too because the city just recently, this past May, waived the civil service exam fees for all veterans. So I really encourage veterans to seek employment with the city. You can do that through Vet Connect Pro. It's very prominently displayed on our DVS website, nyc.gov/vets. I do encourage you to take a civil service test because there's no cost to you to do so. It doesn't hurt to get on one of those lists and potentially become a permanent employee with a good salary and fabulous benefits. And those exam fees typically run to be about $68 or so. So it's a big savings. And that's one way for the city to say thank you. And also a way for us to bring your talent in through the door. This also really displays the city's commitment to hiring veteran talent. We know what veterans bring to the table, your skills, all that you have to offer is something that we want to leverage to make the city better. So there's private sector jobs on there as well, in addition to city jobs, as I mentioned. So please check it out. It's called Vet Connect Pro, and you can access that through our website, nyc.gov/vets. The next thing I want to mention is our Vet Biz Map. So this is a new initiative that we just launched this past summer. This is an interactive map that displays over 300 different veteran-owned businesses in all 5 boroughs. When you pull up the map, it'll show you little pegs that represent each business and where they're located. If you click on those little pegs, it'll show you information for the business. It'll give you their contact information, their website if the business does have a website. It'll show you what industry they're involved in. And if you are a veteran business owner, I really encourage you to reach out to us. You can navigate to the entrepreneurship section of our website on nyc.gov/vets. And you'll be able to fill out a form to request to be listed on that map. We also include certifications on there too. So if you're an MWBE or an EBE, we highlight that as well. We certainly want to drive business to our MWBE businesses out there. So please check it out. It's called the Vet Biz Map. We often promote it on social media. It's also highlighted pretty prominently on our website as well. The other thing I want to mention too is regards to social media, you could find us at NYC Veterans on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook as well. The next project I want to mention is actually related to one that was spoken about earlier. It's actually one that kind of coexists with the Veteran Oral History Project, and that is our local Veteran Voices Project. So in May of last year, at the height of the pandemic, we wanted to find a way to connect with our veterans and reduce social isolation. And we thought, what better way than to contact them, engage them, and encourage them to share their oral histories with us through our Veteran Voices Project initiative. And so we did just that. And that's been an ongoing initiative for over a year now. We've been able to collect almost 80 stories from veterans across the 5 boroughs. The stories are going to be archived in the municipal archives, and they will be archived at the Library of Congress. We're actually currently in talks with them to figure out how to do that, but this is going to be a collection that will be shared with them. And similar to what my colleague earlier just mentioned from the Library of Congress, the ethos of this project is to preserve, share, and celebrate the stories of our local veterans. So if you are interested in participating in our Oral History Project, and again, it connects to the Library of Congress project, these things are symbiotic with each other. Please do reach out to us. You could actually go to our website and sign up to be a storyteller if you're someone who wants to share your story, or volunteer to help us collect a story. Right now, we're doing all of our story collection remotely. We want to respect people's safety, especially as flu season and things become more uncertain with the pandemic as it evolves. So all of our recordings are conducted using really simple software. We use WebEx, and for some of our older veterans who may not be as comfortable using technology, we also collect oral histories over the phone. We've done many of them over the phone where we just give a dial-in number and we collect their story, and it's as simple as just picking up the phone and sharing. You can listen to some of our stories on our website. We actually have a SoundCloud with many of them uploaded with pictures of the veterans who shared their stories. So please check it out. It's called the Veteran Voices Project. There are so many things that our agency offers, so I just want to give you the quick highlights. The other thing I want to mention is our Vet Connect system. So this is a general services system of service providers, many different service providers that offer a number of different services, from discharge upgrade services to housing support services. One of our strong partners is Black Veterans for Social Justice that Jelani just spoke from. So please check out our website. You could fill out a service request form. Our team will do intake and they will assess your needs. And if they deem that you have an issue that can be addressed by one of our service providers in the Vet Connect NYC network, they will send a referral to that network and help case manage your issue. So please check out the DVS website and navigate to the services form where you can sign up for Vet Connect NYC. The last thing that I want to touch on is our Mission Vet Check initiative. So this has been something that's been going on since last year as well. It started during the pandemic. And this is just a very simple program where we conduct wellness check calls. We have called over 40,000 veterans since it started. Sometimes on multiple occasions, we've called to check in just to ensure that folks are doing okay. It was really important for us to do that, especially during the pandemic. Because we wanted to make sure that our folks were all right, especially given all the uncertainty in the community. So this is something that we are still doing. If you are interested in receiving a wellness check call, please go ahead and fill out the contact form on our website and just say, Mission Vet Check, I want somebody to call me and just see how I'm doing. So you could have someone to talk to, someone to ask questions of. There are volunteers that are placing these calls, volunteers from New York Cares. They are all trained to speak with our veteran constituents. And if you have an issue or a service request that needs further resolution, they will connect you by way of a service request to our team. And then our team will then triage and help you get the help that you need. The last thing I want to touch on is actually an event that we have going on December 9th. And that is with the Office of Administrative Trials and Hearings, OATH. And this is an event specifically to help veterans mitigate issues with New York City enforcement agencies. So like the Department of Consumer Affairs, et cetera, many of those agencies or the DOB, many of those agencies are authorized to ticket and fine. And if you are a veteran who has been affected by one of those agencies' fines, this is a virtual discussion that we're going to have on December 9th at 1 p.m. so that you can learn more about OATH and see how OATH can help you resolve some of the disputes that you may have with those city agencies. So please look into that. We're going to be promoting that more, but hold it on your calendars right now, December 9th at 1 p.m. And DVS will be pushing out that information once we get a live link. December 9th at 1 p.m. And you can find out more about that on nyc.gov/vets. Thank you so much for having me this evening, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Well, let me thank you, Cassandra Alvarez, for your insightful presentation and the invaluable resources that you have brought to the people of the 9th District, our veterans in particular, and their families. We truly appreciate it. And I want to thank all of our speakers for sharing their invaluable resources and information with us tonight. I think that for many veterans in our community, the resources that are available to them can be elusive at times. And we believe that it's important, as your representative in Congress, that you know that our office is a portal to all manner of veteran services. So please share that as we move forward. And this evening, we're going to go ahead and begin a question and answer component of tonight's convening. We had reached out to the people of the 9th District of New York, informing them of this evening's presentation, and received a number of questions. And we'd like to bring our panelists to the fore so that we can speak with them and share with them some of the questions that members of the 9th District constituents had on their minds. So I'm going to ask our technology folks to bring up our participants this evening? Awesome. I think we're we're waiting for one more panelist. Everyone is here. So let me just say that we've been receiving a number of questions from people in the Ninth District, and whoever can best answer these questions, I will be directing essentially the question to the entire panel. The first question, and it really I think has to do with the programs that have been discussed. Could you clarify, if there is one, what type of veterans are eligible to participate in your programs?
I'm happy to take that one first.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
so the city does not stipulate that veterans have to have a honorable discharge to receive our services and support. So if you happen to be a veteran who has a other than honorable discharge, first I encourage you to reach out to us to see if there's a way that we could get your discharge status upgraded, so that you can access the broader range of VA benefits. But as far as the city is concerned, when it comes to our direct services, we don't have any discharge qualifications.
Jelani, would you like
Yeah.
to? Mhm.
Yeah, sure. That's the same thing with us at Black Vets. We work with DVS hand in hand. Cassandra, what's up? How you doing? Good to see you. On a number of different issues when it comes to service and veterans, and none of our programs, all of our programs are open for all veterans and even community members, family members of veterans. So we want to be able to support everyone that comes through our doors or that contacts us. So we're not limited in any way.
Fabulous.
If I can offer, Congresswoman and team, uh, if you have a DD 214 and you want to get into business, you don't even need that. If you're a military family member, I highly recommend getting in contact with one of our resource partners to understand what is available to you as whatever your status is. Quite often there are private programs offered by lenders that might also offer some degree of grants. I do want to mention one program offered by New York State. We live in a state where it's pretty progressive in one respect when it comes to service disabled veterans. If you have at least a 10% service disability and you're in business, or maybe you're thinking about getting into business, and maybe contracting might be part of your business plan, New York State has a 6% set aside, which means if there's any kind of state contract they're anticipating, the prime or the subcontractors must comprise at least 6% of the labor. So I know it's a small percentage, it's a tough way to get some kind of special status, but if you carry at least a 10% service disability, it's worth investigating with it by yourself. And it's a pretty easy course to get certified by New York State. But no other state that I'm aware of offers that kind of set aside for this special kind of veteran. So keep it in mind, and it's worth knowing about.
Since we're doing shout outs, I just want to say, hey, Cassandra. And also, I'm looking forward to working with you, Rob, and you, Jelani.
Yes.
The Veterans History Project is open to all U.S. veterans who served from World War I through the recent conflicts. You might ask, why World War I? Lots of us spent some time in isolation over the past 18 months or so, looking at all of the shoeboxes of photographs and letters in our closets and in our attics. And amongst those, you might be surprised to find items that would meet what we're looking for from World War I veterans in your family. And we're a great resource for ensuring that those are preserved for the nation's benefit and your family's benefit. So U.S. veterans who served in uniform from World War I through the recent conflicts. And yes, that does include some members of the Merchant Marines and some members of the public health services, the uniformed public health services, and those slightly different concepts of what veterans are. And we're very interested in all of those stories.
Wonderful, thank you. And another constituent sent in a question asking, will any of your organizations guarantee employment to all veterans? And are loans available of up to $100,000 to support their small businesses?
Well, I would say that as Black Veterans for Social Justice, we do give priority to veterans, to hire veterans. And of our 400 employees, we have over 150 of them are veterans at this time. So we do give priority to veterans, all veterans, in terms of hiring and also in terms of access to our affordable housing and low income housing.
The Library of Congress does participate as a federal organization institution in veterans preference hiring, but we do not offer 100% veteran, although many of our staff are either veterans or military family connected. Please do check out the career opportunities at the Library of Congress. There's always job opportunities and announcements available.
I think I'm kind of in a unique situation because what we're all about is helping people create their own jobs. So how cool is that to create your own career? It's not easy. Heck, they never said it'd be easy, but they did say it would be worth it. The question about loans, $100,000, there's a couple different categories here. If you're just starting out in business, there's no guaranteed money. I highly recommend you get to one of the resource partners, but quite often a micro loan makes a lot more sense than a $100,000 loan. I'm not the least bit in favor of recommending loans for anybody because that means you're starting behind the starting line to start with. But if you need it, there are organizations. Being a veteran, you might qualify for a micro loan, maybe 5,000, maybe 10,000, and if you do well with some counseling and help, you might grow it over time. But it's one of those things where it's case by case. And I don't want to guarantee anybody anything at this point. But great question. Thank you.
Thank you. And the next question is, if a veteran wants to start a small business, what kind of support can he or she expect from your agencies that work with entrepreneurs? And what other opportunities are available to veterans through your organizations?
I'll start out if you don't mind. First of all, a misconception is if you're going to start a business, starting out, you want to talk to a veteran advisor because veteran advisors really know how to help you and they understand the veteran. That's sort of true, but you know what? Most business advisors in the city, small business services, as well as the small business development centers, SCORE, et cetera, you want to get somebody who knows how to help you start a business. They don't need to be a veteran. There will be times when you want to tap into specialized knowledge that a veteran may have, but that your principal advisor can get you to that point. So I highly recommend you start somewhere. Throw a dart at a dartboard. Just figure out where you want to start and stay with that advisor until you get to a point where it's no longer, maybe you outgrow that advisor. I work with James Hendon, who the commissioner of the Department of Veteran Services, and he actually had at one point in his career, he ran one of the incubators in New York City, and those are the kind of things that I didn't know that existed. But when you get to talking to these advisors, all of a sudden you network and you find out opportunities you never thought possible. So it all starts with the first click of a mouse or the first phone call.
Robin, I'd love to add to that. And thanks for shouting out our commissioner. He actually is a veteran and business owner himself as well. And networking is really crucial. It just expands your knowledge on the various resources that are out there. And so two entrepreneurial incubators that I'd like to mention for folks to pursue is Bunker Labs. That's a fantastic program. offers lots of resources for folks looking to start a business or develop their business. And then the other is the NYU Veteran Futures Lab, which is the organization that our commissioner was the head of prior to joining DVS. So those are two wonderful resources. We've got a lot going on in this sphere as well. Some of it's currently in development, so I don't want to prematurely speak about it. But what I will say is that we actually do have a New York City Council hearing on December 2nd at 1 p.m. about veteran entrepreneurship. So that's a really great opportunity for you to hear our commissioner testify about all the things that we've done. And you can certainly join and testify yourself if you have any questions. But just, I really recommend folks to also get civically involved and things like that so they can learn about what's going on in those types of forums as well. So that is December 2nd at 1 p.m. Committee council hearing on veterans.
Yeah, and thank you, Cassandra, because we work together with you guys a lot and refer a lot of people to you all. At Black Vets, we also pay for any licensing fees that veterans may need, nominal payments for them so that they can actually get it. It's a vendor license and some other licenses we actually pay for. So we can help put you on the ground, and then we'll connect you with others that can help you move your business forward, such as the SBA and the DVS and the state.
Well, very well, folks. There was a question actually about vending and how folks can get started, on the ground floor as a veteran with vending opportunities to share, what their experience has been in that space.
Yeah, sure. So we've helped a lot of veterans with their vendor's license, and they're out there promoting themselves and growing their businesses, entrepreneurs. With the new administration coming in January, we want to make sure that we push for New York City to be even more veteran friendly. So a lot of more licensing opportunities become available for veterans at low cost or no cost, specifically for veterans. So we're going to continue to do that as an organization and continue to help veterans that come through the door or contact us with anything that we can and subsidize where we can.
Very well. Well, there are a couple more questions I have here, and they really have to do with two very special and specific populations. One is the homeless veteran population, and the other are female veterans. They wanted to find out what local outreach programs or programs on the ground are focusing on these particular subsets of veterans, and how does your organization serve sort of the homeless population? This question was very specific because there's a huge shelter in Brooklyn at the corner of Bedford Avenue and Atlantic, and apparently there may be a number of veterans there. So want to get your feedback around this question. This is a hyper-local type of question.
Cassandra, you could take it first, and then I'll piggyback off of you.
Yeah, I'm happy to jump in. So DVS actually has a veteran peer coordinator program. That's folks that are trained on our staff to work with veterans who are in shelter to help them secure their subsidies and move from shelter into supportive or permanent housing. We've been running that program for the since the agency was created in 2016, and we've reduced veteran homelessness drastically by over 90%. We've been able to do that. And that's really thanks to the Veteran Peer Coordinator Program. That is a program where our folks buddy up with the veteran and help them through every step of the way. So we say from voucher to keys, they help them with the paperwork. Many of our folks are veteran spouses or veterans themselves. So that peer element really is there. We build trust with our veterans and we help them work through that paperwork. If you know a veteran who's experiencing homelessness, homelessness, please give us a call. I'm going to say the number again, because that is a very serious matter that we do not take lightly. It's 212-416-5250. And we will absolutely address that situation. And I know BVSJ does a lot of work on this front too, so I'll pass it to you, Jelani.
Okay, thank you, Cassandra. Yes, so let's start with specifically that location. So the Department of Homeless Services has a veteran shelter. So most once a veteran is identified, they're then sent over to the veteran shelter where they have programs, services specific for veterans at that veteran location. I don't want to give the name of the shelter out, but that is the process that happens. I know this because we run a number of shelters also here in New York City. So the other thing is that as an agency, we do outreach, and we also go to the courts to find veterans that may be released and that may be homeless, so then we can give them access to services, services including housing, finding them housing. We also help our residents with their HUD-VASH application and direct them to the VA. And then we also have programs where we have preventive services for homelessness, which is we have subsidies available to help pay some of this back rent or link some of these homeless veterans with those subsidies at home base or some other different agencies to help them. So we do have the ERAP program, the Emergency Rental Assistance Program here at Black Vets. And we also have a STEP program in which, through the United Way, which we help people pay back rent along with their utilities if they don't qualify with these other governance subsidies. So we not only help the homeless veteran, but we help with preventive services for people being homeless. So we attack it in many different ways, and we're always outreaching in the street, community board meetings, and everywhere we go. If the veteran is homeless, I tell you to contact us, and we'll get on the job, especially if they're in Brooklyn. We'll get on the job to help support them and find them housing. Throughout our history, we have a number of cases where we have helped veterans that have been on the street in garages or parking lots or abandoned lots and have gotten them housing, whether it's in our buildings or housing in other places. So we're staunch in terms of connecting veterans and preventing housing, and also prevent the homelessness and connecting the veterans to housing.
Wonderful. Let me just ask, because veterans are gender neutral, right? But one of the questions asked: are there specific programs that address women, or women veterans, perhaps those from the trans community who may have transitioned while in service to our nation? Can you speak to those programs if they exist?
Yeah, well, at Black Vets, we've collaborated with Sage Vets, the LGBT veterans organization, and we are all our HVRP homeless reintegration program, veterans reintegration program, covers women's veterans and women with children. So that's part of the attachment. So we definitely are on the line with women veterans, and our CEO is a woman veteran, and she if you know her story, it falls right in line with helping other women veterans. And so we've also our CEO, Ms. McClan, has also been pushing the Me Too movement within the armed services, which is another issue that we're going to start bringing up and pushing forward more in this new year coming up. That's going to be one of our initiatives, because that type of non-service to women and the attacking of women in the military needs to be brought up.
Absolutely, Jelani. I don't think you'll get any pushback on this platform, and we say a big amen to Black veterans for social justice for joining the cause. Let me ask another quick question. Oh, I think we're actually. Oh, does the DVS offer any new initiatives, programs, and events that veterans and their families should know about? And I'll extend that to everyone and ask that you make it your closing statement as we wind down our program this evening. So I'll start with you, Ms. Alvarez.
Yeah. What I will say is that there's always lots going on in the veteran community. We actually have a brand new community calendar that we're featuring in our Vet Connect Pro platform. Whether you are job seeking or not job seeking, I really encourage you to create a profile in that system just so you could access that community calendar and also just browse it and see what's going on. We also have a fabulous newsletter that I really encourage everyone to sign up for. It's actually a weekly newsletter and it's robust with content. And we share a lot of what's going on in the community. We're trying to do more as we get back to normal life. Hopefully it continues to be that way. So we've been having discussions here internally about perhaps doing a community service project. We're gearing up again for Memorial Day. This is going to be the first real Memorial Day, hopefully, that we will have had in the last couple of years. So there's going to be a lot going on in the community. And so I think I would just say generally, stay tuned, sign up for our newsletter, follow our social media. We're always very active on those platforms to see what's going on. And thank you again for having me tonight.
Thank you. Rob, I'll have you make any announcements and our closing remarks.
Well, thank you so much to you, Congressman, for your leadership, and to my colleagues for all you do with our communities. Beyond just veterans, I know you do a lot more. But I just want to stress the one thing about entrepreneurship is really it knows no limits. We just celebrated Small Business Saturday, and the SBA is pretty careful about and enthusiastic about celebrating a bunch of different entrepreneur segments. Whether it be even adolescents or teenagers. We have a program called Entree Skills that our local small business development centers have, where they actually put a program in the hands of schools if they want them, where high school kids can learn about entrepreneurship. It's a step-by-step program. We have programs dedicated to the seniors, Encore Careers, or people who are retired. Maybe the dollar doesn't go as far as it used to. How do they start a small business? So the calendar year is just scattered with great sort of celebrations of different kinds of entrepreneur segments. And all we can do is just keep on promoting them and celebrate their successes.
Well, thank you so much for joining us once again, Rob. And I'll now turn the mic over to Monica Mohindra. And you can give your closing remarks and any final plugs for the Veterans History Project.
Thanks so much, Congresswoman Clark, for having the Veterans History Project here today among these amazing colleagues who are doing such important work. The project may seem, in the light of all the important topics that were covered today, sort of a little frivolous or perhaps icing on the cake, but we have a guiding quote that's been a milestone quote for the staff for many years. And it's a Maya Angelou quote. You might have heard it. She has said, "There is no greater agony than bearing an untold story inside you. And whether you're a homeless veteran, a woman veteran, a veteran who feels they haven't been heard, participating in the project can be the first step into unburdening yourself from that untold story." So I hope you'll participate. And thanks again for having us tonight.
Thank you. And to close this evening, we're going to ask Jelani Mashariki to share any parting words and anything that he wants to highlight about the Black Veterans for Social Justice.
Sure. Thank you very much, my esteemed colleagues here on this presentation, along with you, Congresswoman Clark. We thank you for all of the advocacy and all of the things that you have done to support us as Americans and those in Central Brooklyn. We appreciate you and acknowledge the work that you've done over the years and continue to do. And I just want to put that out there. So just to close, we have many different events that happen on Black Vets. You can follow us, Black Veterans for Social Justice, on Facebook, on Instagram, where we're always sharing activities that we're doing. One of the things that we didn't mention, Cassandra didn't mention, and I didn't mention, was that we do a weekly distribution of food with DVS, HelloFresh, and the Campaign Against Hunger. And we've been doing that since August of last year. We distribute 2,000 meals every Wednesday. We pack them up and we distribute 2,000 meals to veterans organizations and veterans throughout New York City. So I just want to say that's something that we do on a weekly basis. And thank you for your partnership at DVS. Thank you, HelloFresh. Thank you, Campaign Against Hunger. And thank you, Department of Veteran Services from the state level. So we're always on the ground, always doing work. So I just want to say that at Black Vets, we are here to service all veterans and their families with tender loving care and a listening ear. And finally, from our website, I want to say that BVSJ believes all persons could be productive, positive contributions to society, no matter what sex, race, social class, military label, or problems may beset them. All humans wish to do the right thing, but do not often get the opportunity. Given a boost, a helping hand, all people, particularly veterans, will respond positively and productively. So thank you very much.
What a wonderful way to close out this evening's presentations. I want to thank all of our panelists this evening. Again, the information that you shared with this platform has been invaluable, not only to our veterans, but the surrounding community that supports our veterans and their families. And so to my fellow Brooklynites, and quite frankly, to all New Yorkers, we are finally getting the support we need and deserve to make a difference in the areas of New York City, across America, and in those communities that have been most vulnerable and marginalized in our civil society. These are the resources, and this is the moment that we have so desperately needed. And for our veterans who have given so much and received so little acknowledgement and inadequate support, again, help is here. We've these wonderful organizations within our community, in our state, and our federal level. Let us avail ourselves of the resources that they are making available to each and every one and our families. Share this information with a veteran you may know. Make sure that they have at least the contact information from my office, and so that we can connect them with the services that you've heard about this evening. This is very transformational, and the Build Back Better Act and the Infrastructure and Investment Jobs Act are legislation that will push our nation forward like few other pieces of legislation has ever done before in American history. It is our most comprehensive path towards real, meaningful, and substantial change for hardworking people and for those who have made the ultimate sacrifice in time and treasure to make sure that we remain a free nation. That's none other than our veterans. And it is so close right now to the finish line. The Build Back Better Act is currently in the United States Senate. Now we have to make sure that the Senate follows suit from what has already occurred in the House of Representatives and bring the win home for the American people. As we make our way to the other side of this pandemic, it is critical that we deliver the support all Americans need to rebuild and to prosper. And the programs that have been passed through the Build Back Better Act, as well as the Infrastructure and Investment Jobs Act, which is already signed into law, will help us greatly in getting there. It would be malpractice if the Build Back Better Act fails to become law. So we all know that this is not only a necessary path that we must take, quite frankly, given the disrepair of our roads, our bridges, our tunnels, given climate change and the pandemic that we continue to fight to this very day, it is the only path. So make no mistake, our work just doesn't stop here, and our work will not stop until the Build Back Better Act passes the Senate without weakening its structure. So we call on the Senate to quickly pass the Build Back Better Act and send it to President Joe Biden's desk as soon as possible. Or, as President Barack Obama used to say, right away. These are really sincere and historic investments in the future of our country and the lives of our veterans. So it's time for the U.S. Senate to deliver. Let me thank you all for joining us once again this evening and ask that everyone stay safe, stay healthy, and stay strong during our holiday season. Wishing you all the best. And don't forget to wear your face mask. And if you haven't been vaccinated already, please get vaccinated. You can follow me on at Rep Yvette Clark on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Have a great evening, everyone, and enjoy the rest of the holiday season.